a Friday like today relatively quiet?
Yeah, it was relatively quiet today. There wasn't much going on. I mean, you saw the market close up 7 points. So, I mean, it was like watching paint dry, really.
Now, looking at individual stocks, gold hitting record highs, the gold price hitting record highs for 6 out of the last 8 sessions, and obviously gold counters rallying on the back of that. But coming under pressure today, how have you been playing these gold stocks against each other?
Well, the gold stock we've been trading the most is Anglo Gold. Every time we see a nice little pullback in it, we've been buying 320 to 300. I mean, selling from 320, buying from 300 has been quite a nice range. We're trading about 325, 326 at the moment. So I think there is still some room for movement to the upside to about 340. Of a point to note is Harmony has been lagging the gold counters by quite a substantial amount at the moment. I think there's been some big institutional selling in it. It is speculation, however, but it's starting to look very good from these levels as far as we're concerned.
77 Rand 28 buying at these levels?
Yes, definitely. I think it's definitely worth some speculation at least. There seems to be a decent technical level, about 76 for some support. If we break that, we might go down to test 70, but at the moment we would definitely be buying, yeah.
But so many unknowns though for gold miners. You've got the Rand gold price, which has come under pressure with the strength of the Rand, wage negotiations, possible strike action, production issues, and of course those electricity tariff hikes that are coming into play next year. Do you have any preference between the ETFs and gold counters? I'd
definitely be trading the gold counters at the moment. As you can see from the ETF GLD, it's been going nowhere really, trading between 78 to 81. Rand has been trading completely conversely to gold. Every time gold strengthens, Rand strengthens. So Rand price of gold going nowhere at the moment. So yeah, definitely I'd rather trade the likes of Anglo Gold, Harmony and Gold Fields at this point.
The JSE is launching new commodities, gold, platinum and oil derivatives next week. How do you think the market's going to respond to these?
Well, from a retail point of view, the retail investor doesn't really have much of an opportunity to trade physical platinum or physical oil. So it will be quite nice from that perspective. But when you take a step back and look at the gold ETF, new gold, like I said earlier, it doesn't really move. So it'll be interesting to see how that moves the Rand price of platinum and the Rand price of crude. I think we'll see some decent flow in it though.
Will you be buying these?
Not really. I think we'd rather trade the counters Impala Platinum and Platts Sasol if you want exposure to that.
In terms of oil though, an opportunity to get more exposure to the oil price, usually people using Sasol?
Exactly. So like I said earlier, from the retail point of view, definitely nice if you want to have a punt in the physical aspect of commodity markets other than the shares, you know.
Now, looking back on the whole week, which have been the biggest stock movers and the biggest losers, really?
Well, Harmony, we had a look over the last 2-3 days. Harmony's fallen to the tune of 6%. So they, like I said, I think it is speculation over, but it's coming under a lot of pressure from institutions, I think, selling from those levels, yeah.
Now, looking at the telecom sector, the communications minister, Siphiwe Nyanda, coming out today that Cell C, Vodacom and MTN have agreed to reduction in interconnection rates of 40%. How's the market responded to that news?
Well, as you can see by the share price movement, they've responded quite well. The likes of MTN and Vodacom have rallied in excess of 4, 5, 6% even.
Is that just because there's now clarity in the market?
I think so. I think everyone is now happy that it's been cleared. They've agreed to cut costs by about 30 cents, give or take a couple of cents. And now there's no speculation as to where we go from here.
But Telkom coming under pressure today. Now, Telkom is the one company that is said to benefit from the reduction in interconnection rates, but they did come out with a trading update today saying that first half headline earnings may drop by as much as 55%. So obviously just the market taking that into account.
Yeah, I think, and the fact that they have now disposed of Vodacom, the market is seeing that how much they actually relied on Vodacom for some decent earnings and whatnot. Obviously not liking the fact that it's going to be down 130 to 140%. Personally, I wouldn't be trading Telkom. There's a lack of exposure to the mobile network at the moment. So
sitting the MTN Vodacom, MTN 120 Rand 29, up 1.5%. What price will you be buying it at?
We were trading the range previously between 122 to 130, called 10-buck range, and once that broke, we kind of just got out of MTN, and we saw some decent support forming over the last couple of weeks at 112. Every time we got down to that level, we saw some decent buying coming in. I like the fact that we've seen some good volumes trading from 112 that pushed the share price up quite nicely. So if we get a nice little pullback to about 115, I'd be buying, therefore move to about 125. If you're lucky, you could even get 130 out of the share.
And Vodacom, any value at 56 Rand 11 cents today?
Vodacom's done a heck of a lot through November until now. I mean, I think we're up about 9%, give or take. From a technical perspective, I think there's room for a move to about 59 Rand, which is only 3 Rand from now. So, I'd put a small amount in Vodacom at these levels, yes.
Looking at the banking sector now, we had Moody's coming out yesterday, cutting the financial health rating for 5 of South Africa's banks, but excluding Standard Bank and Nedbank. Is this reason enough to buy those two?
I think so. I mean, all along throughout this year, we've been preferring Standard Bank to the other major banks. Judging by what they said and the share price movement, we didn't see any major reactions. Only 2 of the big 5 banks were down today, but not by much. I think it was First Rand and Standard Bank. So it just justifies how we've been saying that we like Standard Bank.
Standard Bank today sitting at 96.40 Rand. Your target for the share price?
About 102 to 105 if we really get going.
Now, Nedbank's an interesting stock. That stock has surged 33%, outperforming the rest of the banking sector since its low in March. Nedbank a growth story in terms of investment from an investment perspective?
You've missed a lot of the movement now, but I still think there is decent amount of upside from where we are now. If I was buying Nedbank, I'd wait for a decent pullback if we get it to 110, to be perfectly honest. But just remember, when we had this big decline, Nedbank underperformed the banks by quite a large amount. So I think a lot of this big move we've seen has to do with a catch-up story.
Now, not sure if you take a look at this bank, but African Bank, so the smaller bank, coming out saying that headline earnings could drop by between 10 and 12%. Now, that stock did come under slight pressure earlier today. What are your thoughts on African Bank?
Well, firstly, it's not a stock we pay particular attention to. I mean, it's just too small and too volatile. The moves can hurt retail investors quite a lot. But judging by the share price performance that we saw today, obviously traders and investors alike not liking the fact that they're going to show such a big decline in headline earnings. And I mean, they're heavily exposed to micro lending, which isn't the greatest place to be at this point.
We've also seen Blue Financial Services, which has been hit as a result of the financial crisis and the tightening of credit lines. So, just an indication of it might not be the right time to get involved in those type of banks.
Exactly, a big exposure to the lower LSM groups, which are struggling to a large extent still. So, yeah, I wouldn't really be having a look at any of those smaller financial service groups.
Now, looking at luxury goods maker Richemont, sitting at the top of the top 40, up 5%, 23 Rand 43. It had some solid set of results coming out today for the first half of the year. Also, its CEO saying that he will now also be chairman, Johan Rupert, saying that he's going to be the CEO as of 1st of April. The market clearly liked this news.
Yeah, judging by the share price performance, definitely so. I mean, there once again, not a share I pay particular attention to, but the powers that be obviously very interested in this announcement and the fact that they're going to show some decent profits and whatnot. Yeah.
Just looking at the broader market at the moment, now the JSE has been quite resilient. We've all been talking about the fact that the rally has been overdone. Do you think that volatility that we had seen earlier in the year, do you think that's completely gone now? Do you think we can expect some more volatility in the next few months?
Well, I think we should see some decent volatility, not by any means to the extent that we saw, through up until March of this year. There's still a lot of uncertainty out there, and when there's uncertainty, volatility will return to markets. So we should see some pressure coming in markets at certain levels, but I don't think anything to be too worried about, to be perfectly honest.
Now, obviously, the US market opens in the late afternoon. What type of flows have you been seeing and activity on the local bourse when the US markets open?
Well, generally, I mean, Europe also opens at 10 o'clock in the morning now. So whatever happens in the States, we make our move from 9 until about 9:30 in the morning. So there's a lot of volatility around then for the first half an hour of trade. Then we kind of just hang around and wait till Europe to open. We see a lot of flow until 10:30. And nothing much happens until 4:30 or 3:30 when we get some big data announcements out in the States. So quite dull, unfortunately, between the lunch hours and whatnot. But when 3:30 to 4:30 hits, there's a lot of action on the markets.
Have you been seeing heightened action, though, heightened interest in South African assets during these time periods?
I'd say so, yes, definitely. I mean, it's still early hours in the US at those times, at 3:30 to 4:30. So you see a lot of institutional buying from the States and whatnot coming into our markets at that time, yeah.
Just a quick one, your expectations for the US markets trade day today?
Judging by the price action when I left the office, it was exceptionally flat. It was down about 1 point on the US futures. So if that's anything to go by, I'd say we'd see quite a tightish range tonight, give or take 40 to 50 points either side, up or down, yeah.